those who were not able to join us. So if you see a little red dot, that's what that means. And I'm going to mute you all, but feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question or wave frantically at the camera. We're going to talk about password managers today, which we touched briefly on early on when I started the tech time, maybe the first or second week. So we'll deep dive in them, and I'll show you. I use something called 1Password, so I'll show you what that looks like, but I hate to be a promo for one company, so you know, I like it, but there are a lot others out there that are just as good. So if you have one of those, feel free to do that or look into the different ones. Jean, did you have a question?
Yeah, is that just Apple oriented?
No.
Or could that be? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Carol. You're muted, Carol. Carol Edwards, you're muted.
Sorry. You cut out just as you started saying what that was. It's called 1Password by whom?
1Password. We'll go into it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm just doing an overview of what we're
Got
talking about. We'll get there, baby steps. So hopefully my internet's behaving. I hope I don't cut out again or lose internet like that one time, that first time. Anyway, we're going to start with a little video because videos are more interesting than me just blabbing on. So we'll talk about what a password manager is, and we'll, okay, I think Sue Kelly made it in. Okay.
Yeah, hi.
Cool. Okay, so that's screen share and video. There we go.
Do I hit
The average person has.
What?
Do I hit share screen?
No.
Okay.
So I'm going to mute you all. And then we'll start the video one more time.
The average person has 27 unique web logins. To create an account on a site, you have to register with a username and password. And most people pick passwords that are easy to remember. Actually, a lot of us end up using the same password for all of our websites, which is understandable, but risky. There are many different ways that hackers can get your password. They can use programs that try to guess it by randomly cycling through different combinations, hacking the website itself, or phishing by sending fake emails that look like they're from a website or company, but actually aren't. All of this spells bad news for people that reuse the same password because you're putting yourself at much higher risk for hackers being able to get into your emails, your photos, and even your bank info. Last year, Yahoo made headlines when it was the victim of a massive cyber attack, with sensitive information being stolen from 1 billion accounts. So if you had a Yahoo account and you used that same password for other sites, you are now vulnerable to all those other accounts being hacked too. Every time there's a big hack like this, experts tell us to stop using the same password for every website. In fact, they say we should stop memorizing our passwords altogether, recommending that we use something called the password manager instead. I know, it already sounds complicated, but trust me, it's really not, and it'll help make all of your accounts much more secure. We currently think of passwords as things that we memorize and store inside our heads. But since we're really bad at remembering random things, there's a limit to how complex your password can be, and how many different ones you'll be able to remember. As a result, most people have really simple passwords, and many use the same one across all their logins. This sucks because if a hacker gets access to your 1Password, they then have access to all of your different accounts. And if your password is uncomplicated, it's astonishingly easy for hackers to guess it. For instance, if you use a password like, well, password, which is actually the 8th most commonly used one, it would take a hacker mere milliseconds to guess it. But if you use a password manager to generate a 15-digit series of random upper and lowercase letters and numbers, that time jumps up to 609 million years. The biggest thing we need to do is stop keeping our passwords in our heads. Instead, we need to put them somewhere else and lock them up, like a virtual safe. This is what the password manager does. It's basically an app that keeps all of your passwords secure inside of a safe that only you can unlock. This way you only need to remember one password. And once you unlock the safe, you can see all of your many different passwords in one place. Since it's an app, you can access your passwords from any device you've installed it on. And since you don't need to remember all your passwords anymore, you can make them really long and complicated. So what happens if your password manager gets hacked? They would have access to all of your individual passwords then, right? Not necessarily. The password manager encrypts your data, so if a hacker looks inside your safe, all they'll see is scrambled passwords. Lastpass was hacked in 2015, and users had to change their master passwords, but the individual passwords inside were safe because of this encryption. It may seem like it would be annoying to have to retrieve your password for every single website, but actually, most password managers have browser plugins that automatically fill your info in for you. So in many cases, it's actually easier. And besides, it's better than the alternative, becoming one of the millions of Americans that get hacked every year.
Okay. So, welcome to those who joined us in the middle of the video. I hope you aren't completely lost, but we'll try to catch you up. So, how many of you, like me, use the same password over and over on a lot of different websites that the video? Yep, we're all guilty of that. Password managers are to help, combat that. So questions from watching that video, things that were stumbled upon?
I do. I really just don't feel safe with passwords on, and I know that that's encrypted, like it said, once it gets into the password security box, whatever, it's encrypted. It seems like if they're able to get into that, wouldn't they be able to figure out the encryption with that? Does that make sense?
It's a good question. So what, I don't know enough tech, I'm not techie enough to know exactly what encryption all does, but from my basic understanding, it takes your data and spreads it out over a ton of IP addresses. So it's a lot harder for somebody to go all over the world to, by all over the world, I mean, they have to go to all these different servers around the world. We kind of talked about that with the cloud last week, rather than just one computer that has all of that information in it. So they're much more likely to go, oh, this person, backs it up. I'm going to go with this person who, it's a lot easier to hack into Bob and Jean Bell's computer because I'm giving you grief. It's a lot easier for them. So I'm not going to worry about Marty because, it's twice as hard for me to get into. There's no perfect 100% safe thing in the internet. The safest thing would be never to go on the internet ever again. That's just unrealistic. Katie?
I'm muting. They change that encryption every time, right?
Yes.
So my question is, what goes between me and my website I'm trying to reach? Is it my own password, or does my bank, for example, have to recognize a different encrypted password every time?
It's the same password you enter in the website each time. It's the storage from your computer to the cloud, from the cloud to the website. But it's kind of like that video we watched last week, I think, that talked about a package. We package it up in our house on our computer, and it gets transferred and opened at, say, your bank account's website. But it's never opened through the encryption stuff in between the two places. So it has to go to the cloud and then there.
So I manually enter my own password, but when I launch it off, it changes.
Yes. So you'll see what your password is. The bank or Amazon or whoever you're going to will see what that same password is, but in between, it's
okay.
Very, 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 very difficult and time consuming.
I thought that was auto-fit, but it's
Would you have any air filters?
No.
Did somebody?
Not sure if I have one on the truck. That one really needs to be changed.
Well, usually they bring their own. That's why I don't stock them anymore. And that's all included in the service, basically. So I don't.
You gotta mute your tablet.
Sorry.
Sorry, there, Chuck, there we go. I was like, who's talking?
I'm kind of slow.
So I don't keep them anymore.
I'll see if I have one on the truck. I'm not sure.
He unmuted himself. There we go. Okay.
Can
Does
I?
that help?
Well, I have a question to just try to follow that again. So they're in a safe box. I open the box. I see what the password is to my bank. It reminds me. And so I have to go to my bank's website and type it in again, right?
The manager will have a thing for you. So I'll show you an example of what I use. I use something called 1Password, as I said. So here's my little browser. And I go to a website. Let's go shopping on Amazon, because why not? And I am logged in, but say I want to log out so I can show you. So do you see this little icon here that looks like a little blue thing? Can you see my mouse cursor at all? You nodding? Okay, good. So this little guy here is my 1Passenger. And there's a extension on Chrome that you can add. We talked about that before, but we can go back to how to add an extension if we need to. And up here in my extensions, it's the same icon with a little lock. So it's locked. So I have one master password that I need to type, which I'm not going to tell you, because then you could access all my passwords and you could do dangerous things. And then I hit enter, and this shows me all the logins and passwords I have stored on my computer. And I have a ton. You can see, can you see all the passwords and things? Okay, good. I've got, my mom's login. I've got the one for the church. I've got my best friends, because all of these people have used my computer. So I, go down, this is my password, and it saves my email, and it brings in the password, and then it signs me in. So it's kind of like the autosave on your computer when you go on Internet Explorer or Chrome, and it says, do you want to remember this password? That's Chrome's or Internet Explorer's or Firefox's password manager for you, but it's not as safe and secure as the paid ones, because it's not as encrypted, or there's not a master password that you give for it. So it's kind of like the basic level, but this is the advanced, more safe level, if that
Lynn, of the subscription or the paid password managers, is one better than the other for working across devices, like from the laptop to your phone to your iPad?
I've only interacted with 1Password, so I can't give a personal recommendation to all the others.
Okay.
I've heard, other people like Dashline and things like that. I find 1Password really easy across platforms because there's an app on your phone. So it brings it in on your phone. I know some don't have an app on your phone, so it's a lot harder if you are a smartphone user. I know some of you aren't smartphone users, but you want to make sure whatever you end up using has something that makes your life easier on your phone in case you need to log in to like your Verizon account or something on your phone.
Then you're using 1Password on your phone, and you have an iPhone, right?
Yes.
So when you use it, does it automatically fill the password for you? Or do you have to copy and paste?
It automatically fills it, I think. Let me let's pull it up and see. Because
I've been using
automatically.
I've been using an app called Lastpass, I think it is.
Mhm.
And when I use that on my Apple devices, I have to copy it to either copy it manually and paste it in, or
Mhm.
let it go to the whatever, to the
I
board.
think Katie had the same issue as you did for that. So let's go to one of these on here. Trying to think what, I'll do Amazon again. And it has me saved in, so can I log out? I'm trying to think what one has something that I can log in on. Let's do FiOS. Maybe. Okay. So, sign out. Yes, sign out. Oh, Face ID. No. Come on. Let's sign out. No. Okay, that wants Face ID. Okay, that was a fail. So, what's another one? Let's try State Farm. There we go. Dismiss. Dismiss. Come on. Oh, stupid Face ID. Okay, let's do something through the browser. Sorry guys. I have it set up too easily for me. Okay. So, sign out. Add account. It has it all saved. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. It's not usually this easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're using the face recognition feature, which is really convenient.
Yes. Yes.
I use that on the phone, but I don't have that on my iPad. Maybe I should.
I'm trying to think what else. Because I know I've used it on here a ton. So what software?
Put your mask on and it won't, Face ID won't work.
I can go get a mask, yeah.
This is true.
Or just hold your hand up. Because that's very annoying when I'm at the gas station and
yeah,
nothing works or whatever.
Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so Verizon, right? That was one that. Okay. There we go. Can you understand me? Okay.
Yes.
So if you click the word passwords, it's going to go, do you want to go through 1Password or iCloud Keychain? iCloud Keychain is the default Safari one. So if you save it through Safari like you do on your phone, it would save that. But I want to go through 1Password. And I have my 1Password set up through Face ID, but you could do a Touch ID or you could put in your master password. So I'll pick my Verizon instead of my mom's and keep me signed in and sign in. So it's that easy on your phone.
So Lynn, 1Password goes across devices because it's stored on the cloud, not on the app, not on the device?
It's not on one particular computer.
Okay.
It's cloud-based.
Thank
So
you.
cloud-based is a lot easier than device-based because you
Yes.
save it on your computer, but then you get a new computer and you didn't back up your password manager, then it's you have to re-enter everything. So back
Lynn,
up your computer. Yes.
I have always resisted checking Remember Me or Keep Me Signed In, but with the VPN and with the password manager, you feel for yourself it's a safe thing. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's one of those, I want to balance convenience and, also safety. So it's a fine line, like, would it be better? Probably not to save it, but I can't do that every time. I'm just too lazy. So I know that about me.
Lynn, how complicated does the master password, how complicated should the master password be?
They suggest, most all of them, you know how they have the strength level things usually that's green or yellow or red? Like this is a strong one. It should suggest to you what that is. Mine, I think, is 10 characters. It's got upper and lower case. It's got, what's it called? Characters, numbers. So, and I have it mixed in between. So what I do is I take a word and replace like O's with zeros and, ones instead of I's and things like that. So it's easier in some ways. So I wouldn't do just your kid's name and 1, 2, 3 or something like that. I would do a passphrase like we talked about weeks and weeks ago. Yes, Betty.
Following up on what Katie said, once when virus did get into my computer, and I went to have them fix it for me, the guy who was setting things up for me at the end said, never, ever, ever click that save password. So I'm glad Katie asked that, and I feel a little better that with 1Password, I'd be safe doing that. And also, I don't know under what circumstances, but if I ever wanted to change that master password, what kind of hoops would I have to jump through to do that?
So yeah, the dude at the store is right. Like, theoretically you should never do it and type it in every time, but I'm too lazy. I know that about myself. If you guys want to be overcautious, like I would recommend.
LastPass forces you to, I think, change, or it has a setting where you can either keep your master password forever, or you can set it to remind you to change it every so many days.
Mm-hmm. 1Password gives you an encryption code. So if you forget your master password or want to reset it, you have to enter this ridiculously long encryption code, which you can save on your desktop or documents, and I open that up when I need to. But I tend not to change that one very often, which is probably a bad thing. I'm not a very good example. Don't do what I do. Be better than me. Yeah. So it can be done, but it's one of those, if you lose your master password, it's very, very difficult to get your stuff. So, Sandy.
Lynn, I have a question. So how difficult is the transition process? Like, say I decide I'm going to do this and I want to go to 1Password. How do I tell all of my other accounts? Am I changing my password in all of those accounts?
No. So if you do the autosave like me, it imports all of that for you. At least it did for me, because I can't remember. It brought in passwords from like my old employee accounts that I'm like, I never use this anymore. So I'm like slowly like deleting them all, which I don't have memorized at all anymore. So I was surprised how much it found of mine. which was awesome, but that made it easy. But if you don't do the autosave like a very cautious, good person, it would be a lot harder to do that. But but if you use the same password for everything, do this. I'll also show you guys, there's a app you can download like on your computer, like you do Norton for 1Pass and password. And if you open that, there's something at the bottom called security audit, and it will tell you down here, these are passwords we think are weak, that we think you should change. So it will say, if you look at this Netflix account, this is my mom's Netflix account, so I can't change the password, but look, it's so weak right here. We really should change that, but because it's not mine, I can't. And like this Yahoo password, I created when I was in middle school. So of course it's super easy. And you can also click on it and it will reveal your password. It's Hershey all lowercase. So granted, I haven't gone through to this email in probably 20 years, but things like that. So it will tell you, and it will also give you the link so you can go and change it if you want to. It will also tell you, these are, I have 302 items with the same password. So it's a way for you to go and go, oh, I need to go and change all of these to do that. So I'm slowly working through that to make it a little stronger. It also tells you, hey, these are all over 3 years old. You should probably change these because they haven't been changed in a while. And the watchtower are ones that they think somebody's got a hold of for you. So they recommend you change these because they think that it's been breached somehow. So there are some nice security things that they offer.
And that's through Norton.
No, this is 1Password. I have a Mac. Norton's not Mac friendly.
And when you want to add a new one, where do you go to do that?
So you see this vulnerability alert? That tells you they think that it's gotten, issues. So up here on my, oh, you aren't seeing this. Let me share my whole desktop. So what I do up here, there's something that says search 1Pass. So if I go, I'm on this website and it's not filling in the autos thing, for some reason it's not recognizing it, I'll type in, the website and it will show me what it is, and I can copy right there and then paste it in. And there's something called a password generator. So I love the password generator because you can change the length. So this one is 19 characters. It's got 4 digits and 7 symbols. So if I want to make it 56, the stronger it is, the better. And I want to have, a ton of digits and symbols, you can do that. There are some people that, it says you need to have 8 to 12 characters and you can't go past it. So there's that. And there's also an option if you want to do words. If you've got a password manager, there's no reason to do words, in my opinion, because characters are stronger.
Lynn?
Yeah.
Is there, if you've got password manager, is there any reason to limit to 12 or 15 or 25?
No. I go as big as they allow you to, because why not? You don't have to remember it. So that's really nice. So and you can pull them all up. So it's very easy to add them. You can also do it through your browser if you prefer to go through your browser. So everybody does a little different. One of the other features I like about 1Password that I don't know if other, Ted, maybe you can speak to this about Lastpass, or Katie, I know you both are using it. There's family plans. So say, you know, my dad's a private pilot. My parents go on a romantic, you know, lunch somewhere on a plane, and they are in a horrible plane accident and die, which please don't let that happen. I'll be a mess. But say that happens, because we have a family account and they use 1Password or 1Password, I can easily get access to, say, their bank accounts, their passwords. So if I need to go and shut stuff down for them, that's easy to do. There've been nightmare stories in the news and things about, you know, spouses dying and the husband or wife can't get access to their bank accounts because they don't know passwords. So that's one nice feature. If you trust your family members and want to do a family plan, that's a nice feature. Again, you want to trust them, because, you know, I could also go and, you know, move thousands of dollars from my parents' bank account to mine if I really wanted to. But
Lynn?
yes.
It's Connie. Okay, if you can't do family password thingy, is there anything wrong with just telling your kids, this is my password to get into my lockbox?
You should definitely do that.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
what we've
have
done with
not-
our kids, just tell them where our passwords are.
Yeah. If you have not, you know, made a booklet or something with, this is my computer password, this is my bank account password, and given to, you know, a trusted family member or friend, it's definitely something to add to your list. Our family, you know, made sure that we all at one point changed our, you know, gave each other our computer's passwords just in case, you know,
Right.
the worst was to happen, which God forbid it does. So,
Lynn,
yes.
Lynn, this is Dan, do you keep track of all your passwords? Is it necessary? Or are they internal to the system so that as long as you know the one biggie, you don't need to know everybody, all your passwords?
I don't have all my passwords memorized. And I don't have a book written down that I do. I know a lot of you have, you know, a sheet of paper that has all of it written down or crossed out and done, but I don't have that because I'm afraid I'll either lose the paper or I'll cross it out. I'll change the password so many times I won't know what the newest password is. So the nice thing about a password manager is you don't have to deal with that paper. Marty, did you have a question?
Well, I think that was Dan.
Yes.
So just to reiterate what you just said, so let's just say I had that 1Password that was 15 characters long, and that's how I get into 1Password. I don't have to know what my bank account password is. I just type in Wells Fargo, and it pops up, and I don't even have to know it, right?
Yeah, so it will go log into your 1Password or Lastpass or whatever that account is.
Yeah.
And it will autofill your Wells Fargo.
It auto.
information.
Okay. This is all new to me, so you've probably said that 5 times already, but
no question stupid. And I can say stuff 20 times and I won't be offended.
Thank you.
Then
I feel better.
when you go ahead. Well, when you have all your information entered, is it possible to print out a list of your passwords just to lock up in a file somewhere? I saw that suggested somewhere, but I don't know how it would work.
I have not done that, and I don't have a printer in my apartment that works. So
Is it do you know if it's an option?
I'm sure it's an option. I'd have to do some research, but I'm sure it's an option.
Okay, so that's another option.
Yeah,
Is
it's
there a
just
reason to
remembering
do
to
that?
change that every time you change your password or add a new password.
Excuse me, is there any reason to do that though? Why would, if you're using the password manager, isn't the idea to keep it internal with them and let them do it? You don't have each password.
Mm-hmm.
I would just keep it for end of life issues. If somehow my attorney or my dear family was having problem, they would have that information should it be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it always hurts. It doesn't hurt to have backups. I mean, backups are always good, whether it's paper or digitally. It does not hurt. Is it a waste of paper? If you never need it, yeah, then yes. But if, your attorney or family member needs it at any point, it's good to have. It's just making sure it's always the correct information, which could be something that changes daily or weekly or monthly. So
Lynn, I'm sorry, if a lot of these sites say that you have to change your password every 30 days, 60 days, whatever, annually. So if I go in to an account and I change my password, then do I have to go back into Password Manager and tell them that I've changed my password?
it will say, do you want to update? It's kind of like the autosave thing. It will go, do you want to update your 1Password account or your Lastpass or whatever you're using?
So if I'm in Citadel, for example, and I change my password, Citadel's going to say, do I want to update 1Password? It knows?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or you can double check. It doesn't hurt to double check, but
So Lynn, if
Yes.
I have account with Target and Target gets hacked,
yeah.
but I have been entering my own password in there, does the hacker get the encryption?
Keyword shouldn't, but it's always a, possibility. It shouldn't be
encryption.
What? It should be encrypted and it should be gook to the hacker, but keyword should. I always, I'm overcautious, and if I see, a warning like this has been, like the Instagram one on 1Password suggested I should change, then I do it anyway, even if it's a very rare, very less than 1% chance that they got it. I'm still, would rather change it than.
So when we get a message, we could ignore once a week change your password or once every month change your password.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to do it as often, especially if you have a secure one. But I'm overcautious, so I tend to update my password on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dan?
Something like Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
Let me think what I'm saying here. Okay, I've got my passwords. I did something. I changed. I think it was my Google password. I changed it. I'm not sure why. Patty said why, and I said I'm not sure why I did. I'm sure I had a good reason, but it's not bad to do these things occasionally anyhow. But anyhow, then something got messed up with Netflix. So I went back in. They said, okay, you've got to re-up your Netflix. But then I realized that somehow Netflix wouldn't have gotten changed. So the point I'm making here is you do something and you think you're just fine, but then you realize afterwards something like that happens with something like, I use Netflix as an example, and then you're screwed up. You don't realize that you changed something and it's a problem afterwards. So I'm trying to think of a better way to deal with it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, getting losing your password and then having to create a new one kind of
Yeah,
thing?
well, yeah, because but if it's created by one password,
Mhm.
then I lose it at Netflix through no fault of my own. These things just happen. Netflix, I don't use that as an example. And then they say you got to change it or put in your new one. So you do have to know it then.
Or you just let 1Password do the autofill for you and you can copy and paste it. Or Lastpass or whatever password manager you go with. You should be able to copy and paste. The challenge with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime is if you, or your, what's it called? Just Wi-Fi in general. If you have to type that in on your TV or on, you know, try to give that to somebody that comes to your house for, you know, access to your Wi-Fi. If you have to type in a 56-letter character, upper and lowercase with numbers on your TV, that's going to be painful. So those kind of accounts you might want to, you know, do simpler passwords for your ease with that kind of stuff, or words or things like that. So those are ones.
So there might be some you don't use with the password manager then.
Well, you would still use it in 1Password or your password manager, but those are ones that you would have to type in other things that say your password manager might not have an app for, or a cloud-based program for you to type in. If that makes, am I making any sense? Am I talking tech garbage?
That last thing you said doesn't make any sense to me. That the very last thing you said doesn't make any sense.
For, you know, your any digital device you have, the password manager that you decide to go with should have an app for you so that it auto imports all your passwords for you, whether it's your computer, your iPad, your tablet, your smartphone, a digital device they haven't created yet. But things like the TV, if you need to physically type that in with your TV remote, it's going to be painful to type in, you know, something that's upper and lowercase letters, numbers, that aren't words. Connie.
Well, I think what the question is, with a password manager, you can have the manager auto-generate the big long password, or can you not also put in your own password if you don't want to have a long password?
Yes. So if you go
in those cases,
So if my password was for my television was Marty 1, and it also had put that into my 1Password manager thing, and it's encrypted in there. But here I am, I have a visitor, and I want to tell them that my Netflix thing is Marty 1 or whatever. They can type in Marty 1.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can always override and ignore their suggestions. You can use that 1Password you use over and over and over and over again. And I've done that on occasion when it's too cumbersome to, you know, do. But so you don't have to use the password generator feature if you don't want to.
Do they fight you on that?
What do you mean by fight?
In other words, should they say, what are you working with me for when you're putting in your I love you too password, which was a stupid password. You know, are they telling you, why are you using me when you're doing it your own way?
They might say, this password is weak because you're using the word password as your password. But they're not going to say you can't use it unless that website is, you know, forcing you to use numbers or characters or upper and lowercase letters that some company or some websites force you into. Anyone that has a Church Realm account knows that they make it really hard for you to create a password because of that. So, Sarah? Oh, Sarah, you're muted. Hold on. Maybe.
Okay, good. So why would I need to make up passwords or good passwords if the 1Password generates passwords for me?
You don't need to. It's just if you wanted to do it, if you didn't want to use their suggestions, you could still do it. But I always recommend using their generator.
Okay.
Because it's a lot more creative and secure than my brain can be.
Right. Okay. And then do you have to put the 1Password app on all my devices? Like if I have it on my phone, do I need to put it on my iPad? And
if you want to have it autofill on those devices, then yes.
Okay.
If you want to, go to your computer, look it up, and then type it in, it's just a lot quicker to have the app.
But if it's auto-generated, then I wouldn't want you to have to type it in.
Exactly, because it's a lot more confusing and complicated. And there are times I'm like, is that a period or is that a L or a capital I or?
Right, okay.
Connie?
If I have a computer that's too old to do all this stuff, I basically shouldn't do it on my phone or iPad either. I won't be able to use the computer to look up those websites. Is that true?
Yeah.
But I would never remember the 59-digit thingy.
Most of password managers anymore that are good are cloud-based. So
my computer doesn't work with the cloud. It's too old.
You can't, but you're on the internet. So how does that work?
But I can't, it's 2012. So, and I don't want to get a new one now until 2022 for all the Apple people that are online, because they're going to start using an Apple-based thing instead of a whatever they're currently using, which is, you know what I mean. Their whole operating system is going to be Apple instead of what it is now, starting in 2022. So we're going to try and hold off for 2 more years.
Connie, you can add the new operating system on a computer. So I'm planning on, I got this computer during COVID because mine was dying, and I will be able to install that new operating system when it comes out in 2022. They usually give you a new operating system. You don't have to download it, but you can.
Okay.
So I wouldn't wait just for the operating system.
Just for that?
And one more comment about operating systems while we're on it. Along with that operating system, Apple announced this week that they're redesigning the look of an iPhone. So if you have an iPhone, they're going to design it a little different. So instead of having the apps all lined up, they're going to have some different options. So be prepared for that to change in the next few months.
Great.
So maybe we'll do a class just on that. Katie, I'm sorry.
I see we're approaching 11 o'clock, and I want to say that on ExpressVPN, when I loaded that and got in there, somewhere I saw they recommended password managers either 1Password that you're showing us, or the Lastpass, which, because that offered a free option, I chose it. And it has really given me a lot of problems. I think it may be because I'm on the free trial. It isn't offering me all the options that I thought it would, but I am infinitely more impressed with what you've shown us with 1Password. So I just want to pass that along.
Be curious to see what Lastpass offers you and things like that. So maybe at some point we can look at that together. But yeah, free trials are sometimes hard to see what all the features are.
Lynn? Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say I've been multitasking again, and I looked up a website that has the 10 top password managers for 2020, and not the one that they recommend, which is Keeper, which is 9.9, but RoboForm gets a 9.7, and it's only $1.39 a month, which is a lot cheaper than LastPass or 1Password. But it does all this. But it's worth you looking it up just to think that it's just a website that has the 10 best of 2020.
Yes, I was planning on Googling some for you. So
Sorry.
But yes, yeah, I'll be curious to research some more and for you all. But yeah, there's a lot of different options that you can look into. I don't think there's one is better than the other. You know, they're all probably comparable.
So Lynn?
Yes, Kathy.
Sorry about that. I did come in a little bit late, so you may have already addressed it early, but was there a reason, since you have all Apple-based products, that you didn't use Apple's version Keychain?
Well, Keychain is the default browser. So if you only can use Safari browsers for that. So if you go to Chrome, it won't save all of the ones in there. And then if you go to Internet Explorer, it's not going to have those unless you import them all. But they might not, you know, they don't speak to each other because they're different languages.
Okay.
So that's like the free option they give you. But I always recommend for password managers paying. I hate to keep telling you, buy a hard drive to back up your computer and buy a password manager and this, because it can get expensive. But they add a lot of extra features and encrypt it in a way that it's more secure than a browser password. And my family does a one password family plan, and my dad and brother are on PCs and my mom and I are on Macs. So we needed something that spoke to both sets of operating systems. So, and that's why we went with that one.
Okay. And I use Safari, so I could use Keychain, but I do like what I've been hearing you say about the 1Pass.
Yeah.
I guess my other question is, because this is up on the cloud, and if the cloud goes down, you don't have a copy on a backup, whether it's a thumb drive or a hard disk drive or something like that. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is if I'm working on documents that need to be encrypted on my computer, so then I'd want that password to be available to get it open. So do you understand so my question is then, if I'm because in the normal circumstances, Bob and I would be traveling, and we travel places that are out off the grid. I do a lot of documents, not all of them obviously passworded, but if I wanted things for protecting files that are on my computer, 1Password allow you to have two segments of the password population. In other words, passwords for things that are encrypted files on your computer, or is it just for all these app interactions with businesses, all that stuff?
I don't have enough saved documents that are like physically on my hard drive versus web-based. I live in the web. So I can't speak to that very well. There are things you can add notes and files and things like that, which you should be able to store as well. I should create a password saved document on my computer and try it out to answer you more intelligently than me guessing.
So to me, it's just they're two different animals, and I didn't know if 1Pass could handle the local
hard drive versus if you're off the internet.
Right.
And I think if you have the app downloaded on your computer, like if you have Norton or McAfee or anything like that, that should be able to give it to you without the internet. Verizon's coming today to give me higher bandwidth speeds. So maybe I'll try seeing if I can get in while I have no internet. So
Okay.
I'll try it out and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
And somebody else, oh, Carol, there you are.
Yes, thank you. So I'm on a Mac, and I've tried to convert everything to Safari, like using all Apple stuff. I just thought it'd be easier. But then I have a family member that likes Chrome. So we do have trouble with passwords getting lost. Like I tried to use the keychain, but I didn't realize it didn't work on Chrome. I guess that's logical. I just didn't think about it. So 1Password, if I get that and do a family plan, it will allow anything that's in Chrome to also be, or Safari, that those, I'll be able to access those passwords.
Yeah, any browser you end up using, and on any computer.
Okay, so my laptop, my phone, whatever. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Dan. Oh, sorry.
Robert, do you want to go?
Well, no, I also were multitasking. One of the things we are all getting bad at, I suspect, but looking at, there's at least half a dozen reputable sites that rank password managers and other security programs. And it sounds like, to answer Kathy's question, some of them do address that issue of encrypting documents and security. Some of them really just do passwords. There seems to be quite a range of things. So I don't have any answers to which ones are good, just that clearly there's a whole lot of dimensions to this and a lot of things that are important to different people. That's why there are so many different ones.
Thanks,
Barb. And like my brother stores his driver's license and things like that in 1Password, that I'm like, why do you need that digitally saved? So, yes. So Dan, you had a question.
I'm concerned. You talk about you multitask. I just uno-task. You live on the cloud. I live in my office. So I need a new support group, I think. But anyhow, from a security point of view, you've got for user codes for is that the right term I'm using? User code and then a password. Obviously, you control a password. If someone knows your user code, is that a problem? Versus, obviously they can't know your password, but is it a problem if somebody knows your user code?
So for example, you go to Amazon and somebody gets a hold of your username, which is your email, or dan.wilcox or something like that.
To give you an example, we saw something up on the TV and it had I'm General Dan 2, and it was up there on the TV. We're Comcast. Now, I don't know why it got up there, and Patty and I went, why is this? So I don't know what's a security problem and what isn't.
I'd have to look at your...
Is it a problem if somebody knows my General Dan 2? Is it a problem if somebody knows that? Or
if they don't have your password, then it shouldn't be an issue. I would be a little concerned if it somehow logged you in on your TV without you being able to log in yourself. I don't know what happened there.
If you're concerned, I'm really concerned. So
maybe we talk later about what happened to your TV, because if your username got on your TV, then probably your password did too. If that makes sense. Anyway, did somebody else have a question? I thought I saw a hand. Betty.
You mentioned family plan, and I'm thinking, okay, this costs something, but when I looked at my phone, I have an option for free 1Password. So what is the cost, or are there levels of cost?
So there are different levels, like anything. There's a free trial if you want to do a free trial. So if you want to just do a individual plan for just you, it's $3 a month, which you can either bill monthly or annually. And that would, do unlimited passwords, items, 1 gigabyte of storage, email support, 365 day item history restored. There's a travel mode to safely across countries, and 2-factor authorization. And then the family plan is $5 a month, which is a family of up to 5 people. And that can be billed monthly or annually. So basically you can get each family member is $1 per month. And it's the same things. You can share passwords, credit cards, secure notes, and more. And then if you are the owner, you can manage, if you create it, you can manage who sees what. So, so if you want to be like, okay, I want this person to see this information and this person to see this information, you can do that. And then recover accounts for locked out family members. So if your, son or daughter gets locked out, it's easier for you to help them get back in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good.
And then there's business plans, but I don't think any of you are doing business things. Dan.
I used Norton 360, okay? If I go on, what is it? The one you're talking about.
Yes.
Does that preclude? Do I still stay on Norton 360 to use what I use that for? Or once I go on OnePass, does that preclude me being on other things?
Norton is your antivirus software, which means that it's protecting you from bad things that get downloaded on your computer, like malware, ransomware, phishing email stuff. So it protects your computer from viruses and bugs that happen. Password managers access all your password information. So Norton might have a password manager feature. I'd have to look into Norton.
They do, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I realize the difference. I just wonder if one's got the other one in their pocket where they're saying, if you do this, then I'm sorry, but you got to change everything else you're doing. You're saying that's not the case.
Yeah, you can have, if you want to use 2 different companies, you can use 2 different companies. If you want to stick with Norton and do everything through Norton, you can do that too. I tend to get nervous when I rely on one company to do all my online safety stuff, just because I don't trust tech companies. I do, but I don't, if that makes sense.
That's why.
They're too powerful. Take it with a grain of salt, anyway. Does that help?
Yeah.
Is it more confusing?
No. I'd like to talk to you offline at some point, because there's some things I've got to talk about that I want to keep other people's time up. So,
well, we are after 11, so if people want to duck out, feel free. I won't be offended. But
another question.
Yeah.
Norton, and is it McAfee? Is that
yes?
Okay. Is there anything positive or negative to have both of those, other than it costs you money? Are you increased protection having both, or is it just doubling up and you waste of money?
Sometimes they won't speak to each other. There was one computer I was looking at on some member's computer that had both, and it wouldn't let you install. I think they were switching between, they were using McAfee and they were switching to Norton. And when we downloaded Norton before we uninstalled McAfee, and it wouldn't let us download Norton because there was already McAfee on their computer. So they might not let you have both. They might, depending on who you have. I don't think you need 2. I think that's a waste of money for you, but
They want
you know,
That's
if
why
you
you
want to have 5 and it lets you have 5, I mean, it doesn't hurt if it lets you.
Lynn, I had the same situation with my sister's computer. She had McAfee on it that it came with it, and she wanted to switch over to Norton, and one wouldn't let the other one install until you got rid of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you basically, I don't think you can have both of them at the same time because they won't let each other on there together.
That's why you don't trust them, Lynn. They're not very trustworthy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that they do that. Other questions? Yes.
Lynn, can you hear me? It's Sue Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question would be similar to Dan's. For virus protection, as an example, maybe McAfee, and then would something like the malware system offer protection of a different type so that those two would work more in a more protective way, or is it always best just to keep one? Like, is malware different from McAfee, I guess is my question.
So malware is something you don't want on your computer. Malware is stuff that gets downloaded on your computer and adds viruses and ads and all kinds of horrible things to your computer. So what McAfee and Norton do is they get rid of malware on your computer. So you do not want malware on your computer because it's going to slow your computer. It's going to do horrible things to your computer.
You know what? I used the wrong word. There's something that looks like a bat that's a offering for computer protection. Maybe the name is not. Maybe it's batware. I don't know. So at any rate, let's say if it is batware and or McAfee or Norton, basically just pick one.
Yes.
Okay.
I've never heard of batware, so I'd be curious if you look that up because it sounds a lot like malware to me.
Sounds like a superhero.
Malware disguises itself and makes it look like it's a real company, but it's not. So I'd be cautious and Google that and see what exactly it is. It sounds really sketchy to me.
Wow.
That's not the company, but.
Right.
Well,
thank you. I already went to a bogus site and almost got into big trouble right after you warned us against that. So, you know, I appreciate this class immensely. Thank you.
Of course. I hope it's helpful.
It is.
I don't create more headaches, concerns. Karen, I know you've had a question.
All during this presentation, you've mentioned about the master password. Is that only for password manager?
Most every password manager you get makes you include a master password, which allows you access to all your passwords.
Right.
So they go, how do we know this is Karen, you know, accessing her passwords? It might be, you know, Lynn George remoting in on her computer. But, you know, she doesn't know the master password, so she can't get access to all the passwords that you have in your password manager, whichever password manager you decide to go with. Does that make sense?
Barb.
Karen?
Barb also no.
Did that make
Barb,
sense,
you're
Karen?
muted.
Maybe. Barb, did you have a question? Hold on, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself. There you go.
There we go. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Let me also just say how much I appreciate this course. It's a wealth of information, and I'm just enjoying the whole thing. I appreciate your hard work, Lynn. May I ask you a question unrelated to the password manager?
Of course.
Okay. I usually watch your classes on my phone. I thought, okay, Barb, let's be a big girl and watch it on the computer. Okay. So I went on there. I don't have a Zoom app on my computer. So I typed in Zoom app. So they brought it up and it said, my computer told me Microsoft said this is unsafe. I should go to the Microsoft store and get their Zoom, which is called Zoom Rooms. So I downloaded Zoom Rooms, okay. And I went into the computer to join the meeting, didn't work. And then I thought, well, what happened, what it said was, when I went to your website, I should go to Zoom Client. So I went to Zoom Client. I still couldn't get it downloaded on my computer. So I'm looking on the phone again. And I don't know what it is. Am I doing something not correct or? And then this time also this morning on my phone, I had to type in the meeting number, which I never had to do. Isn't that strange?
It is strange. So a lot of times, Internet Explorer or Edge or whatever browser you're using will warn against any downloads that they didn't create. That was not Microsoft approved.
Yes.
So
that's what it said.
they probably warned you because it wasn't one of their products. They want you to use one of their products.
I see.
So you have to go, yes, I do actually want this.
Okay, will do.
So I'll send you the link to download it.
Okay.
So you don't have to go looking for it.
Alrighty.
And so you can download it there. But if you have trouble, let me know and we can look at it.
All right, then. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
I'll look for it. Okay.
One more question before more of you leave. Did you guys have a topic you want to talk about next week, or should we just do a, drop in, ask any question you want? Because I think we've talked about all the subjects that were requested at one point.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
That's a good thing to do, Lynn.
Okay.
Lynn?
Yeah, I like that.
In one of your free moments, ha ha ha, could you maybe send everybody an email that has the links to all of the videos in one email?
That I've ever done, or?
No, all the videos from this class.
Oh,
you've
yes.
done.
Yes.
Yes,
I have
all
a
in one
playlist.
place.
I'll have a playlist, so I'll include the playlist. I think there's almost 10 of them now, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Next week, then, could we have a class where we just want to ask questions?
Yes. Yes.
That
Good
would be
idea.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds
That'd be
good.
wonderful.
Then I don't have to prepare. Less work for me, thank you. Yes, Dan.
It's not next week, but I have a question anyhow.
Okay.
I sat out the session where you talked about online banking. I do my banking online through credit and so on, but there was one of them, Venmo, is it?
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with something where now it looks like there might be something we have to pay by that. Did you send something out which has background on them?
On Zoom?
You already sent. Did you send
or
something?
On Venmo?
I'm
so
Venmo?
Venmo. It's a app that you can use. So I would say you don't need to worry about it because you don't have a smartphone.
But it's not me. But I would do it. I'm appless.
Yes.
It's
not a bad thing.
It's but this would be something that for Patty.
Okay. So it's basically a way that Patty could transfer money from her phone / bank account to someone else. So like a family member,
Right.
or
Do you have something? Do you have something available to me that would have the Venmo for Dummies type thing.
I'll send you some help things that I did, I think a week or two ago. Yeah. I know a lot of people my age are paying babysitters through Venmo and things like that. So, I have a friend that pays her roommate through Venmo. So it's a kind of system for that kind of thing.
I have to go, Lynn. Thank you very much.
It's
Thank
good
you.
to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks again.
Yes.
Bye,
Yes.
Barb.
Bye, Finn.
Yep. Good to see you all. Dan, did you want to look at your TV?
You know, and forget about that one for now. Just forget about it. Pretend I don't exist.
You do exist. I love you.
No, what I want to do, and I want to schedule it separately around what you've got with Verizon. I want to schedule a time when I can be with Patty and we can call you with our own things. I don't know what they are now. And if I sound confused, I am a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe sometime next week.
Pardon?
Maybe sometime next week or two.
How about sooner than that?
Today's pretty busy and I've got stuff almost all day, all over the weekend. So
you mean you've got another?
I've got another
life. Oh my God!
I've got stuff. I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking. That's wonderful. Next week we can do it.
Maybe Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll look at my calendar.
I'm not in a hurry for anything. So
okay.
Monday afternoon, maybe.
Yeah, I'll look at my calendar and send you an email.
Okay, send me an email, but with that Venmo stuff and so on, and then